up, you guys? Happy Thursday, and let's get right into another recap here. So, today the NASDAQ really did a great job of rallying on the day. As you guys can see just from looking at the chart, the market today was able to hold a higher high and higher low pattern. And yeah, for the most part throughout the day, it did have some choppy areas, which I'm going to talk about, and that's what led me to ultimately be red on the day. But in terms of the overall big picture, yeah, the Nasdaq did do a great job of trending between the middle VWAP and the top VWAP, and on top of that, it was riding up this SMA line here, forming these higher highs and higher lows pretty consistently, right? And yeah, no excuse on that of why you couldn't have capitalized on TQQQ today. So here are my filled orders on the day, 438. There's kind of a lot of them today. It was definitely a lot more of a choppy day for me, and I got faked out in a lot of them. But yeah, like always, feel free to pause the video and go look at those. But I was down $9 on TQs and $16 on SQs. So did a great job of managing my risk today. But ultimately, what went wrong today, even though direction was pretty clear, right? Looking back on it at the end of the day, I'm not going to argue about that. But what I do want to make you guys aware of is the fact of look at all the green and red candles mixed in here. Before we saw this leg up in this future basically higher high and higher low form, it could have been really tricky to see that direction still wanted an uptrend because we constantly kept getting these sell-offs, right? The market wanted to sell off after it approached the top VWAP here, and as it tries to push back up, just sells back off again, pushes up, makes it seem like it's just going to sell off again, only for it to pick back up and then sell off, pick back up, right? So just looking at that, you guys can see from my perspective of why it could have been a lot, somewhat tricky basically to have traded today. It could have been choppy. And that's what happened to me today. So right around here was when the market opened up at 6:30 in the morning. And immediately I saw the market was pushing up, so I wanted to hold off for a bit because market usually tends to be somewhat choppy when the market usually opens, right? There tends to be dramatic changes of direction usually. And right when I saw the market push up, it pulled up pretty aggressively immediately to the top VWAP, and it's when I saw it start to fade and start to sell off basically to this blue EMA line here. That's where I decided to start looking for my first trade, my first potential entry on TQQQ, because I basically just saw that the market was really rallying, right, leading into the market open, and on top of that, I wanted to see if we wanted to test this higher low pattern, riding this blue EMA line here up for higher highs and higher lows. So it was definitely a lot trickier today, and what ended up happening to me that basically made me be red on the day was I kept buying in around here, let's say, seeing there was potential for a higher low to form, and as it would start to go up, I'd fully send it, only for it to be a fake out. It would drop back below, I would cut my shares, and then it would actually end up climbing back up. And that was what the problem I struggled with today. It happened to me so many times today. There were so many times, like let's say even right around here, this basically channel was trading in here, the highs here and lows here. There are so many times where I would buy in for a low around here. As it starts to cross the blue EMA line here, I would fully send my position, only for it to fall. I would cut it, and it would keep faking me out continuously. And it would keep doing that until it ultimately did find a leg up and was able to climb all the way up to 13,228. So what can I do better days like today where I constantly find myself getting caught up in the chop? One of the things definitely I can do is I kept adding in all my shares, right? I kept fully sizing in and taking losses on them, even though I continuously saw that the market direction wasn't too clear. And what I could do different is next time, if I find myself in a situation like this where I took two trades, let's say, and they both went south, market direction isn't as clear as I thought, if I'm going to take another trade on TQQQ, I can always look to, instead of getting in with the full position, I can only be in with, like, let's say half as many shares, because I don't want to be in something fully if I'm not confident that its direction is in my favor. So that's why it can make more sense to only be in with, let's say, half. And even if the trade really went your way, only in with half, that would still be a nice size profit. And on the other hand, if the trade started going south, you would only be losing half as much as you normally would. And that's another just great way you can manage your risk, right? Because that's what I struggled with today. I had some potential trades where I got in with a good setup. Let's say I bought in the TQQQ down here and averaged up and it started to go. And I could have sold around here for $30 to $40 profit, but I was really looking today for a huge, basically direction, a clear direction and a big push in one direction. And yeah, I never got that, right? Because of all this chop. And unfortunately, days like today, where I don't see that clear direction, I can maybe look to offload shares where it makes sense in case it does pull on back. So let's say I bought in with TQs here, it starts going and I fully average in. If it picks up to around here, where it's found a resistance before and sold off, I can look to sell out the majority here. So if it does come back down, at least I still profited those shares going up, right? The majority of those shares. And I would only be in with, let's say, a quarter riding it back down in case it did fall. And yeah, that's what basically I just want to share with you guys. Because I kept getting in fully and cutting the trades, I was never able to really allow my trade to play out. And if I was only in with, let's say, half of my shares, maybe I would have felt more comfortable letting them ride a little more and really able, and that way I would have really been able to catch this higher high and higher low, because I got faked out way too many times. And yeah, that's just it. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but if any of you struggle today with all this chop as well. But that's just what I would recommend is when direction isn't there, like I said, don't force it. And maybe just try and trade with a fewer amount of shares because direction is not clear. And we're not sure about that. So here's how the NASDAQ is looking on the bigger time frames. I'm just very thankful that even though I didn't have a good day trade today, a good day trading, that our swings were able to cover, our profit for the day because of the fact that the market was able to rally nicely. So we were fortunately able to end the day up over $200, and yeah, very blessed for that and excited for tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for tuning back into the video. I hope you all learned something, and as always, feel free to drop a comment or question down below. I'd love to answer it. And yeah, that's just it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care.